It took us all by surprise. Initial blast ripped through a 6-block radius, vaporizing everyone in its path. Everyone except me.
After much delay, and by delay I mean ever since this game was offered as part of the welcome back package that Sony offered last year, finally here I am to review Sucker Punch's inFAMOUS.
Inside me, something was beginning.
inFAMOUS is a third-person action game with very mild shooter elements about a bike messenger named Cole McGrath, who opens a package he was going to deliver, and upon opening it, it explodes. When he comes to, the city has gone to shit, Cole has electric superpowers, and while he was out, chaos and anarchy has ensued. It is up to Cole to use his newfound ability to find out the truth behind all that has affected his life and the people around him, but it's up to you, the player, to determine whether he'll use his powers to restore peace to the city or rule it under tyranny and fear. An aspect that proves to be cool to be seen, but not exactly felt, but we'll get to that in a bit. The story is not too original, but it's not too overdone either. The creators and writers were able to take it and make it their own by paying attention to detail in the narrative as well as the presentation of the city, almost making the city a character of its own. Granted, the city isn't exactly that much alive upon the first few hours of the game, but that is fixed as the story progresses. For those of you who have played it, you know what I mean. My only complaint on the writing will have to be that there isn't a lot of development with the characters. I mean, they do reach a level of sympathy, but they never change tone. Watching Cole do the things he does was like watching Jason Statham in the Crank movies. Not exactly bland, dull, boring, but not exactly too deep either. And every now and then there's the familiar superhero cliche. I mean, when you have superpowers and you have a normal best friend telling you how awesome it would be to have those powers, you know where that's headed. The presentational values of the game, however, are top notch. Like I said before, the city feels like a character in and of itself and makes exploring it worth your time and with great ease, especially when you learn a few peculiar powers that help you do so. Detail was a priority upon the design of the city and the characters, and the voice talent behind these characters was great, despite my feelings towards Cole's one-note voice. Again, Jason Statham. My only problem would be the cutscenes. I'm not, however, referring to the comic book styled story cinematics that move the story along, which are beautifully drawn and put together and manage to make the story come alive while ironically having the images move very little, but I'm referring to the in-game cutscenes that are more present towards the beginning of missions. By 2009, when this game was released, you'd think they'd have better animation so that Cole can actually look angry when he was supposed to.
You just sit around all day dreaming about blowing stuff up?
The game adapts the style of a sandbox game in which you could scale any building and travel anywhere within the limits of the islands that make up Empire City. However, considering you are now one human lightning bolt, traveling by water is highly not recommended. The mechanics are simple and easy to pull off in the variety of missions you are given, ranging between what you have to do in the main story missions to what you can do in the side missions that appear around you as you travel the city. These side missions have a good variety among them, from escorting prisoners to deactivating security bugs on a building. However, at some point you'll start seeing the same missions again and again. Think of the side missions as an action figure with electronic phrases. Every time you press the button, a new phrase will come up, but after pressing the button for a while, you'll start hearing the same phrase again and again. Still, these missions give you something to do after you beat the game, or keep you from beating the game too early for that matter. Again, the controls are simple to understand, and the game has an even pace at instructing the player on how to use each power that is bestowed upon Cole as the story progresses, and also grants you the opportunity to upgrade said powers using experience points you earn when you perform certain maneuvers or achieve a certain kind of kill or amount of kills. The controls, however, don't always run very smoothly, as I did find myself frustrated during a mission from time to time in which Cole would become quote-unquote sticky and would automatically grab onto a platform that I didn't want him to grab onto, or not properly ducking behind a wall, all while having a pile of enemies shooting at me. It would have been a little better if it had a proper cover system like that of Uncharted or Gears of War, since the main combat system is almost that of a third-person shooter with a few melee attacks thrown in here and there. And I can't end this review without briefly talking about the karma system. The karma system is what determines whether you're good or evil. Good actions give you good karma, and evil actions give you evil karma. The actions range from sparing an enemy's life by simply restraining him rather than killing him, to healing somebody back to life that's dying on the street. These are little things, however, compared to the big decisions that you have to make during particular story missions called karma moments, in which in his mind, Cole points out his options and it's up to you to make the choice. This reminded me a bit of the decisions you have to make in Grand Theft Auto 4, except that in that game, the choice you made affected the story immensely, whereas with inFAMOUS, they mostly changed the presentation of the game rather than the way you play it or the story itself. Most of the changes you'll notice will be from the look of the city, to the way random people on the street will react to your presence, to your very own appearance appearance, all which admittedly are cool to look at. So it's not a bad thing to say that that's all the changes that you see, are mostly the presentational things. But gameplay, at least for me, didn't feel any different until literally the last mission of the game. And if you played it, you know why. The decisions don't exactly affect your morale like others do, and the story doesn't change either. Without giving anything away, let's just say that there's a mission that, due to me having played the game through twice, will end tragically regardless of the choice you make.
Hey, Trish.
What's wrong with you? People are starving and you're stealing the only food they've seen in days?
Overall, the game is a lot of fun and really well paced and well balanced in terms of the story and the gameplay, despite the problems in which I already have mentioned. Plus, the side missions and the other choices you did not choose during the karma moments during the first time that you played the game gave you decent replay value. I give it an 8.8 out of 10, which is a B+. Definitely an engaging game and one to check out.